Quentin Crisp was born Dennis Charles Pratt on Christmas Day 1908 and spent his life in the City of London, except that phase where at the end he travelled to New York, the land of the silver screen. Though tragically Quentin was to end his life in Manchester on a tour at the age of 91. Hardly what we would have wanted. Piccadilly Circus was something of a home for Quentin in his early years, having once left home, or rather been thrown out. And here we are. Much as I hate to think about it, if you're going to impersonate me, at least get my death date right. I was 90. You know how a girl feels about her. Screaming Lord Such was born in Hampstead on the 10th of November 1940. He holds the record for standing and contesting the most parliamentary elections in Britain in its history so far. Dave was a musician and worked with people who were in the bands like The Who, you may have heard of. Led Zeppelin is another one, probably forgotten these days. And then there was a little outfit called the Rolling Stones. He worked with Charlie Watson, he was a mate of Jagger's as well. He was noted for his live, dangerous, rather risque act. He once played a gig on, we won't talk about it. But suffice to say, he had a humour of the old school, and I do some of his music in the show, in front of the audience. And it was interesting stuff at the time, and it still is today. And Dave was a character. Now, he never played the Palladium, sadly, and that's where I am today. And that is totally where Screaming Lord Such belongs to be mentioned. Terence Allen Milligan was born on the 16th of April, 1918, in India, Pune to be precise, where his father was in the British Army. How they lived the high life. Then one day, his parents came to Spike and say, "We're going to have a treat. We're returning home to live in England." "Oh, the heartland of the Empire," thought Spike. "It'll be wonderfully warm and we'll have servants there as well." What a horrible surprise he was in for. He must have been practically relieved to get to Italy during World War II. Here we are outside of the BBC, where Spike wrote the Goons Shows, which some would say, many would say indeed, was made him the forefather of all stand-up comedy, and all surreal comedy, all comedy that is practiced today. Please excuse London, it's got a very bad case of London. It was the English writer, Dr. Samuel Johnson, who said that he who tires of London tires of life, which suggests that women who tire of London don't necessarily tire of life. They're just sick of the place. 10th of October 1924, Edward Davis Wood Jr. was born in Poughkeepsie, New York. And thank you very much to my friend Ashley Gutermuth for teaching me how to speak with a Poughkeepsie accent. Poughkeepsie, New York. He went on to become an actor and then a writer, a screenwriter, a director, and a novelist. In later life, he was sadly a pornographer, and he died in 1978. Having him and his wife been thrown out of their apartment, landing in a friend's. He only lasted 4 days and had a heart attack. When they were thrown out of the apartment, priceless possessions by our standards of films and scripts were put to a skip and gone rid of, thrown to a dumpster. Nowadays we can only speculate what gems of the B-movie genre, of pulp fiction and pulp writing were disposed of and never to be known to the future. Maybe some things will turn up, who knows, but if they haven't by now, they probably never will. Now, Ed is celebrated in my show as a great eccentric because he spent his whole life both an alcoholic and a cross-dresser. He was a transgendered in his identity. This was most celebrated in his unique cutting-edge black and white film Glen or Glenda, a one-take wonder, which I went to see on the Scala Cinema about 1991. And I thought it would be funny, but it wasn't. It was a very moving film with a deadpan commentary at the beginning. We see Wood himself walking down a Los Angeles boulevard looking in windows, and we hear deadpan, "This man is a transvestite. He likes to dress in women's clothing." Well, it's not funny anymore. Gone as the pantomime died. Now we accept that as a perfectly legitimate human identity that people... I mean, women have been doing it for so long you'd never notice it. Why can't men do it? because he was most comfortable when he assumed the clothes of a female. He blamed it on his mother for dressing him that way. He was in the US Marines and he parachuted, famously in the film Ed Wood by Tim Burton. Johnny Depp recounts how he parachuted onto the beaches during the Allied assault during World War II in his Marine outfit and bra and knickers. Actually, poor Ed was lying his head off. The most he ever saw of action was picking up bodies and doing ancillary services, we are led to believe. But the story, my friends, the story is everything. I like to see the bigger picture, he said. I like to see